Our nature is able to create a lot of amazing things, from our four-legged friends on land to waterfowl marine life. We know many of them, however, there are also those that puzzle the audience by their unusual appearance or behavior. In this episode, you will witness the most amazing animals and some situations that happen to them. Lucky for you, all of them were captured on camera. First of all, subscribe to our channel and like this video. Many people are already terribly afraid of reptiles, not to mention these representatives of the animal world who can lift a part of their body, the length of a person's height, into an upright position. As you can see, you can meet such giant fish not only in the ocean and sea expanses. Similar monsters also live in freshwaters. The length of this fish is about 3 meters and the weight is more than 200 kilograms. Another natural wonder lives in Pakistan. It is a bull with 6 legs and 2 tongues. Additional body parts are on its neck. The owner of the animal says that he bought a calf 6 months old and it just had an outgrowth in this place, and over time, legs and tongue were formed. Everyone knows that elephants are herbivores. They feed on fruits, bark, branches, and grass. But here's how they eat when you look closer. The elephant very quickly grabs a huge piece of watermelon and absorbs it. Did you know that some cows have holes in their sides? It turns out the hole is made to facilitate the digestion process. A special tube is inserted into it to reach the stomach. This allows farmers and veterinarians who take care of the animal to carefully monitor the digestive process and select the appropriate diet for each cow. The African snail called Achatina is the largest land snail. Its length can reach more than 30 centimeters. This exotic and, at the same time, extremely unpretentious creature becomes popular as a pet. A baby goat with one eye and an ear was born in a village in the Indian state of Assam, and the villagers believe that the animal is sacred. In fact, it has a rare disease, cyclopia. In this case, the eyeballs are completely or partially fused and placed in one eye socket. Having seen this, the fear of reptiles can arise in even those who have not suffered from it before. This huge snake wrapping its body around a van cannot fail to impress with its size and power. Speaking about the giant moonfish, this is not an exaggeration. This is the largest modern bony fish. It grows up to 3 meters in length, their habitats attract divers, and they get used to the presence of humans. If you didn't know that Gollum is a fictional character, you would think it was him or someone like him. Most likely this timid creature is a monkey suffering from alopecia. A few years ago, a strange calf was born on one of the farms in the Pakistani city of Karachi. It has 2 heads and 1 body. Scientists have found that both brains function fully, and each of them is responsible for certain organs, but these connections can change. Just imagine such a big monster crawling on your leg. It'll definitely not be the most pleasant sensation. This black clam living on the Californian coast is striking in its size. Representatives of its species can reach impressive sizes. The largest specimen discovered by humans was 99 centimeters long and weighed 14 kilograms. Animals that lack limbs usually have a hard time. However, there are exceptions, such as this cat called Zenny. Despite the innate peculiarity, it has learned to cope and enjoy life without the front 2 paws. Could you imagine that there is a place on Earth where tens of millions of crabs fill the entire surface? Every year, there is a migration of red crabs on Christmas Island, during which they make a journey from the jungle to the coast. During this period, roads, buildings, playgrounds, and courtyards are painted red-orange because of their incredible number. Another case of mutation among animals was discovered several years ago in Kenya. The calf was born with 3 eyes, a distorted mouth, and 4 horns. It is good that such features of appearance did not affect its health and further development in any way. India is the best place for a bull with 3 vertical horns. Of course, you can be skeptical about this video, but in order to check the existence of this amazing animal, you'd have to visit Uganda. Sometimes it seems that goats violate the laws of gravity. They can climb anywhere. There is no doubt that they can survive anywhere because this ability allows them to get food where other animals cannot survive. This snake has 2 incredible features. Biologist Daniel Parker from Florida has been studying reptiles for a long time. Albino snakes hatched from the eggs of a red and black Honduran milk snake in his house. But what is even more surprising, one of them turned out to also be 2-headed. Female spiders definitely know how to take care of a future offspring. Usually, a spider turns its lair into a nest in which eggs are laid and a cocoon is woven. As a rule, this cocoon consists of silk pouches which are then hidden in a web attached to the surface of an object or stored and carried by the female. Atlas is a giant butterfly contesting the title of the largest in the world from the Thysania agrippina. This creature is striking in size and beauty. The wingspan of Atlas is 25 millimeters, but the largest officially registered representative had a wingspan of 262 millimeters. A pet named Pancho Villa lives on a farm in Alabama. This 7-year-old bull got into the Guinness Book of Records thanks to its huge horns. The distance between the tips is 323 centimeters. A giant bull from Australia named Knickers stands out against the background of its herd. The height of the animal is 194 centimeters, and the weight is more than 1.4 tons. According to its owner, Knickers was different in size from childhood, and it wasn't sent to a slaughterhouse because of such an impressive size. This mini horse named Turbo has a birth defect due to which it cannot move properly. Turbo lived in a shelter and hardly imagined that his life would change when volunteers got it a wheelchair. Now it can run and enjoy life. There was a terrible case in the south of India. A man saw a snake that ate another smaller snake. Most likely the big one won the fight and immediately began to eat the opponent. After such a meal, the reptile could not digest too much prey, so it vomited. Maya is a 3-legged tigress who lives in an Indonesian nature reserve. Part of the front paw was apparently mutilated and amputated, and yet the predator was the real celebrity of the zoo. It gave birth to 3 tiger cubs, which helped save the population of Malay tigers. In 2017, Maya died after suffering from dementia for several years. Tourists came across a giraffe with an unusual appearance. The fact is that there was a huge tumor on its head. It behaved quite naturally, and it didn't look like she was giving it any discomfort. The cause of such a lump on the head is unknown, and it is difficult to say how it will affect the condition of the animal in the future. Tasmania's rivers are home to the largest freshwater crayfish in the world. They reach a length of 40 to 60 centimeters, and their weight is more than 5 kilograms. They live exclusively in rivers below 400 meters above sea level in the north of the country. The harsh winter in Kazakhstan was almost the final season for the deer. Locals found the animal frozen on the road. Its tongue was icy, and its head was covered in snow. Obviously, the deer couldn't move. Fortunately, people helped it to come back to life. As soon as it was cleared of snow, it ran into the forest. Even albino children in Kenya live in fear for their lives, let alone the world's only snow-white giraffe. In addition to it, there were also a white female and a cub in the local reserve who were killed by poachers. Their color is associated with leukemia, a mutation in which animal skin cells lose pigmentation. Cassius clay is the largest reptile kept in captivity. The exact age of the crocodile is unknown, but experts estimate it to be about 110 years old. The saltwater crocodile is the largest modern species of crocodile. It is the only representative of the species that regularly reaches or exceeds 5 meters in length. Small cockroaches in the house do not surprise anyone, but only cause disgust. Another thing is to meet such a 5-centimeter handsome creature. Thirst caused an unpleasant incident in southern China. A group of 18 horses plunged into the swamp in search of water. Local residents were perplexed about how to help the unfortunate animals, so they turned to the firefighters. Together, they conducted a successful rescue operation. Thousands of birds flooded the street. There were so many birds that the sky literally turned black from their number. Birds were also sitting on power lines. Some eyewitnesses were seriously frightened because such a cluster of birds is an omen of the end of the world. If we try to find the animals that tend to take care of the younger ones, we will witness orangutans. For example, this representative of the species from South Carolina adopted 3 tiger cubs as its own and assumed the responsibility of feeding them, imitating the employees of the institution. Most animal lovers consider their pets to be real friends. And although they are usually cats or dogs, this man's choice fell on a huge bear. It seems that a real affection has arisen between man and bears. Back in 1950, naturalists managed to film one of the largest rhinos in history. Gertie lived in Amboseli National Park in Kenya, and although white rhinos are the largest representatives of the family, Gertie stood out from them and impressed people with their size. Camels are very big and tall animals. They are famous mainly for their ability to live without water for a long time. The double-humped camel has been used by humans to transport various luggage for thousands of years. The height of such a camel exceeds 2 meters, and together with humps reaches 2.7 meters. It could be a beautiful love story at first sight. The diver left a small teddy bear at the bottom of the sea, as the octopus immediately seized it with its tentacles. After holding it for a few minutes in its limbs, the mollusk dragged it to its hiding place. Mountain goats are known to everyone, and there are goats that can climb trees in the north of Africa. Given the insufficient number of pastures, hungry animals are forced to get food from trees. Climbing a tree, they feast on branches, leaves, and fruits. The young impala could easily become a victim of hyenas. The fact is that it accidentally got stuck in the swamp. The mud absorbed it while hampering its movements. But the world is not without kind people. One of the employees of the national park managed to pull it out of swampy captivity together with his friends. In Sri Lanka, a baby elephant was rescued after falling into a deep well. The baby was stuck at a depth of more than 5 meters, and it didn't have the slightest chance to get out on its own. Fortunately, the locals came to the rescue and dug a passage for the animal with an excavator. After that, it returned home safely. One day, a group of friends were having fun kayaking in the ocean when an unexpected incident occurred. A seal with an octopus in its mouth emerged from under the water and threw the prey right at one of the guys. The animal then disappeared, and friends remained impressed by what had happened. If you've been putting off sports for a long time, take a look at this walrus. It works on its abs with ease and pleasure, while its coaches support it in this matter. In the American city of New Milford, 2 domestic pigs, named Hamlet and Mary, fought with a bear. Jumping into the pigsty, the bear first came across only the white pig, Mary, who immediately attacked the uninvited guest. A few seconds later, Hamlet joined it. It forced the beast to hide in a corner, stand on its hind legs, and then jump over the fence. This is not some fabulous animal, but an albino moose. Albinism is still cultivated as something unusual, mysterious, and mystical. From a biological point of view, animals born completely white lack the gene responsible for the pigmentation of the coat. If you are worried that a dog is too big a pet for your home, then a married couple from Texas had no such doubts when a huge bison named Savage became their pet. It is allowed to walk around the house, and they have allocated a separate room, and it dines at the kitchen table. A resident of the UK filmed how a flock of sheep froze on a hill near the house. It's hard to believe, but the animals are absolutely motionless, as if they were put on pause. The reason for this behavior of sheep is not solved. This unfortunate moose got stuck in the swamp, and all attempts to get it out were hopeless. It could hardly move, and every minute was almost last. Therefore, the animal began to make loud noises, howling in the hopes that someone would hear. The moose was lucky since people were nearby and came to aid. Even in the wild, there are animals with disabilities who are lucky enough to survive. This hyena lost the mobility of its hind legs after being bitten in the spine of a lion. Despite its disability, it has adapted remarkably and continues to lead a habitual lifestyle. In India, a leopard in search of water stuck its head in a metal can, but could not get out of it. Eyewitnesses really wanted to help the animal, but they were afraid of the predator and called for help. After 6 hours of waiting, the leopard was finally freed. The height of this massive stallion named Big Jake is 2 meters 17 centimeters. Anyone who happens to be around this Belgian gelding seems tiny. Due to its unique size, it is even invited to appear in various TV shows once in a while. In Indonesia, there is a reserve of manta rays, the largest species of stingrays. It is not surprising that this giant sea devil was filmed there. The span of the pectoral fins, with which they move in the water, in the largest individuals can reach 7 meters, and the mass is 2.5 tons. It's hard to believe that this rooster is real because nature has clearly overdone its size. This creature seems small and even cute. But imagine if this newborn eats insects, quickly matures, and grows to the legendary size of a dragon. It's hard to even imagine how terrifying and formidable it would become. One of the zoo visitors was lucky enough to capture the vivid emotions of a monkey. It was just spending its day as usual and resting on the branches when it suddenly decided to smell its feces. Well, we can say that their smell is really strong. Goats are one of the oldest domesticated animals. You will never confuse Damascus goats with any other species because of their unusual ears. However, the largest one is a goat of another breed. I'm talking about a British Saanen goat called Mostyn Moorcock. It weighed 118 kilograms and had 167 centimeters in length, but unfortunately, it lived only 4 years. To see an elephant seal is a real miracle since they live mostly away from people. Elephant seals are among the largest mammalian predators on Earth, but they feed on fish and shellfish, and they usually do not attack people. An adult elephant seal can weigh more than 4 tons and have a body length of more than 6 meters. Having properly raised a Tibetan Mastiff, you can be sure that your dog will be kind and sensitive. And being a guard dog, it will do everything possible to protect the owners. The royal heron is a very rare bird that can be found in the swampy terrain of equatorial East Africa. This charming bird with a menacing look has a very massive beak and is very aggressive in the wild. Usually the hair of the Andean bear is thick and lush, and yet animals also face health problems and genetic defects. Dolores the bear became one of several mammals who were suddenly struck by baldness at the zoo in Leipzig. Despite this, it does not feel any discomfort. Such a number of birds on a tree is quite a rare sight, but what is more surprising is how sharply and harmoniously they fly. It is believed that birds have very developed sense organs. Perhaps they sensed something was wrong and instantly flew away. Few people can boast that they have seen rhinos running. Residents of one of the cities of Nepal were lucky. Judging by the video, the rhinoceros felt quite confident and ran through the city streets with pleasure. That's just, given the weight of the animal, I would not like to be in its way. Opening the door of your own house late at night, you don't expect to see a creature that gives you the creeps. Some netizens are sure that this is a legendary skinwalker or a shifter, while others claim that this is just a very scared animal. The world is full of stories about mythical monsters living under the cover of night. Most of them are quite real animals that seemed like something otherworldly or incredibly cruel and strong. Proving the existence of monsters is very difficult, and most likely, they are just the personification of our deepest fears. The polar bear is the largest bear and the largest terrestrial predatory mammal. The largest polar bears reach 3 meters in length and weigh up to 800 kilograms. These powerful animals are perfectly adapted to the harsh northern conditions. Thick wool and a layer of subcutaneous fat up to 10 centimeters thick provide good thermal insulation and allow them not to freeze in cold water. Great Danes have twice been included in the Guinness Book of Records as the tallest dogs in the world. The elephant is the largest mammal living on land. These animals have a hugely powerful body, large ears, and a long trunk. Usually the weight of an animal does not exceed 8 tons, but history knows even larger representatives. The rainforest in the Amazon basin is a favorite habitat of the anaconda. In such places, a snake lurks prey, so few people dare to approach this large predator to take photos. Once a person meets a snake, he will suffer from nightmares, especially when you have to deal with such a huge representative of the species. Previously, it was believed that we acquire fear of them in childhood. As of today, many modern researchers believe that the fear of reptiles has an evolutionary basis and is innate. What kind of animal do you think it is? It's hard to say for sure from afar, but when you get closer, it becomes clear that this is a goat. However, it looks quite unconventional. It seems that its muscles are many times larger than those of other representatives of these animals. One night, the bear decided that it was time to eat, so it wandered into the nearest yard hoping to grab a few chickens. The owner of the house woke up and, finding an uninvited guest, shouted at it. As you can see, the bear was confused and quickly disappeared. Octopus is a real smart animal and a real master of disguise. It can change the skin color and texture to match the environment. Usually, the mollusk uses its camouflage skills to protect itself from predators and hunt prey. This deer caught the eye of hunters because of its painful peculiarity. There is a tumor the size of a basketball on its chest. It was probably formed as a result of trauma, and although the tumor looks like it should cause the suffering of the animal, the behavior of this deer was no different from the behavior of the others in the herd. In the light of the moon, the forest is especially beautiful, but most people prefer to avoid it after sunset because the night forest keeps many secrets. And yet, there are people who enjoy such walks. Without a source of light, it is easier to hide from some animals, so the girl has a chance to hide from the deer she met. In December 2022, a group of tourists noticed an alligator from afar, which was slowly moving along a swampy surface. Nevertheless, after looking closely, the predator turned out to be some kind of unprecedented creature. Its head and the shape of the ribs were different from those that are characteristic of alligators. As soon as it realized that it was being watched, it quickly disappeared. The frightening appearance and huge size of these saltwater crocodiles have struck fears into the hearts of people since ancient times. It is the largest reptile on Earth and one of the largest predators. Gomek is a saltwater crocodile caught in Papua New Guinea. Its height at the time of its death was 5.42 meters and its weight was 860 kilograms. Presumably, Gomek was between 60 and 80 years old. The Komodo lizard impresses with its appearance and dimensions. Just looking at it, you feel a chill on your skin. It prefers a hermit lifestyle and does not really want to meet with its relatives since it often ends with spectacular fights. From time to time, photos with the image of a humanoid monster with wings appear on social networks and the media. As of now, the ologians are convinced that the terrible winged creatures are demons, and their appearance is an omen of terrible events. Ufologists are sure that these are unearthly creatures, while zoologists suggest that the winged stranger is a special creature that prefers to stay in the shadows. I hope you liked our video. Please don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode.